Most women are taught that men want an intelligent woman, and many men do, right up until her intelligence stops being decorative and starts rearranging the hierarchy in the room. That is the part no one says out loud. A man may admire your knowledge when it makes him look interesting by association. He may love that you are smart when your intelligence is expressed in a way that asks nothing of his ego. But when you know more than he does about something that matters to his identity, his work, his interests, money, politics, technology, fitness, the world itself, his reaction reveals far more than his words ever will. Because knowledge is not merely information. In human relationships, knowledge is status. The person who understands more sees more. The person who sees more can predict outcomes, correct errors, make better decisions, and expose illusions. That creates leverage. And for a man whose self-image depends on being the capable one, the informed one, the one with answers, a woman's competence can feel less like an attraction and more like an audit. By the end of this video, you will understand why some men become more interested when a woman knows more than they do, why others become dismissive, sarcastic, or strangely distant, and why the most revealing reaction is often not what he says when you are right, but what he does after you have proven him wrong. Because a man can tell you he values intelligence. His behavior will tell you whether he values it when it has the power to outrank him. The secure man experiences your knowledge as expansion. He does not need to defeat you in order to feel substantial. If you know something he does not, he becomes curious. He asks questions. He listens. He may challenge you, but not to humiliate you. He challenges you because he wants to understand how you think. That kind of man is rare, not because men are incapable of it, but because it requires a difficult form of inner stability. He must be able to separate being wrong from being diminished. He must understand that another person's strength is not evidence of his weakness. Most people cannot make that separation. They experience every difference in competence as a ranking system. Someone else knows more, earns more, receives more attention, has more social influence, and suddenly the nervous system reacts as if a throne is being stolen. This is why a man may become defensive over something absurdly small. You correct a fact he stated confidently. You know how to solve a problem he cannot solve. You have a clearer read on a situation than he does. And suddenly, the atmosphere changes. He stops listening. He begins arguing around the point instead of addressing it. He changes the subject. He makes a joke at your expense. Or, most revealing of all, he becomes fascinated with explaining something to you that you clearly already understand. It is not always conscious. That is what makes it so interesting. The ego is a skilled employee. It works overtime to protect its employer from the embarrassment of self-awareness. Now this is where most people misunderstand the psychology. The issue is not that a man dislikes intelligence. The issue is whether your intelligence threatens the role he has assigned himself in relation to you. A man may be perfectly comfortable with a brilliant woman if he still feels superior in some other territory. He might admire her education, but rely on his higher income for status. He might admire her career while privately believing he has more emotional control. He might celebrate her expertise as long as he remains the one who leads the relationship in ways that reassure his identity. Human beings rarely seek equality as cleanly as they claim. They seek a position in which their strengths feel visible and their weaknesses remain protected from public inspection. When a woman knows more than a man, she can accidentally expose a weakness he has spent years hiding from himself. She may not intend to challenge him. She may simply speak with precision. But precision is dangerous to someone who survives through vagueness. A man who has built his confidence on sounding certain will not enjoy being around a woman who can distinguish confidence from competence. And this is why some men attempt to reduce the value of what a woman knows. They will call her too analytical. They will say she is trying to prove something. They will accuse her of being argumentative when she is simply accurate. They will say, "You always have to be right," when what they really mean is, "I cannot tolerate how often you are right." That sentence, "You always have to be right," is frequently used by people who do not want truth. They want emotional immunity. They do not want to be corrected. They want their version of reality to receive diplomatic recognition. What happens next is where it becomes dangerous. A threatened man does not always attack intelligence directly. That would be too obvious. Instead, he may begin to punish the woman socially or emotionally for possessing it. He may become colder after she outperforms him in public. He may withhold affection after she corrects him. He may praise women who are easygoing or humble, using those words as code for women who do not make him confront his limitations. He may suddenly become obsessed with femininity, softness, or letting a man lead, not because he has discovered a timeless truth, but because he has found language elegant enough to disguise his insecurity. Watch carefully when a man introduces ideology immediately after his ego has been wounded. That is often not principle. That is injury wearing a suit. There is research that supports this broader pattern. In a 2012 study published in the journal Psychology of Women Quarterly, researchers Madeline Heilman and Tyler Okimoto found that successful women could experience backlash when their competence violated traditional expectations. Women who were clearly successful were often judged as less likable and more interpersonally difficult than equally successful men. Notice what this means. The problem was not their ability. The problem was the discomfort their ability created in observers who had internalized a particular status arrangement. Competence is praised in theory. In practice, people often prefer competence that does not disturb their preferred hierarchy. A man who reacts badly to your knowledge may not even hate what you know. He may hate the internal feeling it creates, the feeling that he is being measured and coming up short. And if he cannot manage that feeling internally, he will try to manage you externally. He will interrupt. He will minimize. He will become a contrarian on subjects he barely understands. He will make your certainty look arrogant, so that his insecurity can look reasonable. The trap for many women is that they begin shrinking before anyone explicitly asks them to. They soften every statement. They pretend not to know. They ask questions they already know the answer to. They allow a man to teach them things they mastered years ago because they sense correctly that his attraction seems connected to feeling superior. But understand the cost. Every time you perform ignorance to preserve a man's comfort, you teach him that your authentic self is too expensive to keep around. And he may stay. He may even become more attached. But attachment built on your self-erasure is not respect. It is merely convenience with romantic packaging. If you are dealing with a man whose behavior changes whenever you demonstrate competence, one-on-one coaching is available through the link in the description. There are also monthly and yearly coaching options for women who want consistent help reading behavior, identifying power struggles early, and understanding whether a relationship is built on mutual respect or quiet competition. After ordering, check your spam or promotions folder for your confirmation and details, and subscribe to the newsletter for discounts. Now, not every man who feels threatened will become openly hostile. Some react in a quieter, more sophisticated way. They become dependent. At first, this can look flattering. He asks for your advice. He relies on your judgment. He wants you to solve problems, manage details, make decisions, translate his emotions, organize his life, and rescue him from consequences he has created with impressive consistency. But over time, he may begin to resent you for the authority he handed over. This is one of the stranger patterns in relationships. A man asks a woman to become more competent than him, then grows bitter because she has become more competent than him. He says, "You always take over." But he forgets the months or years in which he avoided every decision until you had no choice but to take over. He says, "You make me feel like I can't do anything right." But what he means is often, "Your effectiveness reminds me of the responsibilities I keep postponing." This is not your fault, but it is your information. A woman can become trapped in the role of the competent partner because she is trying to keep the relationship functional. She handles the finances, the planning, the emotional repair, the logistics, the hard conversations, the future. Then one day, the man resents her for being controlling. Of course he does. Control is often simply what competence looks like to the person who has abandoned responsibility. The solution is not to become less capable. It is to stop over-functioning for a man who benefits from your strength while quietly punishing you for possessing it. A healthy man does not need you to be less intelligent so he can feel more masculine, more important, or more secure. He needs a life in which he has developed actual competence of his own. He needs evidence, discipline, skills, accomplishments, the ability to sit across from a woman who knows more than him and think, "Good, I can learn." That is maturity. The immature man treats knowledge as a weapon because he experiences every relationship as a contest. He cannot relax around a woman who sees through him because he has mistaken mystery for power. He wants to be impressive, but he does not want to be known too accurately. And that is the central issue. Your knowledge becomes threatening when it gives you the ability to see the gap between his image and his reality. A woman who knows more is difficult to manipulate with vague promises. She notices inconsistencies. She remembers details. She sees when a man is using grand language to cover small behavior. She can tell the difference between ambition and fantasy, confidence and performance, temporary stress and chronic avoidance. That makes her valuable to a serious man. It makes her inconvenient to a man who is selling himself. So pay attention. Does he become more engaged when you reveal depth? Does he respect your expertise even when it corrects him? Does he become curious rather than competitive? Can he say, "I didn't know that," without acting as if you have publicly dismantled his bloodline? Or does he reward you when you are agreeable and punish you when you are informed? That answer will tell you what kind of relationship he is capable of building. Subscribe to the channel and like this video if you want more psychological analysis of men, relationships, ego, hidden motives, and the behavior people reveal when their status feels threatened. And I want to ask you directly in the comments, have you ever noticed a man become distant, argumentative, or dismissive after realizing you knew more than he did about something important to him? For a deeper look at emotional leverage, attraction, boundaries, and the hidden power dynamics inside relationships, order The Feminine Game through the link in the description. After purchasing, check your spam or promotions folder for the email, and visit the new channel, X-Pimp Explains Men Masterclass, where 50-minute videos are uploaded weekly. Never confuse a man's discomfort with your intelligence for evidence that you should become smaller. The right man does not need you to dim the room so he can be seen. The wrong man will call your light arrogance because admitting its brightness would force him to look at himself.